So to talk about epithelial tissue, I decided to have you pay attention mainly to the three types of cells. There is a fourth, which was transitional, but we won't worry about that. And something that holds the cells in place, which is a basal membrane or basal lamina. And I made it in red. Now, one of the things you'll notice is these cells tend to be more long. And I'm not showing you the nucleus, just the cell shape, which are your columnar cells. These aren't as column. They may be a little rounded, but they're actually made more cube-shaped, and you'll see what happens. And then these over here, you'll notice that they're flat, and so they're squamous cells. Now, once we actually get that, we can talk about things be either stratified or simple. So for instance, if we take our squamous cells and we put it on the basement membrane, we can make a layer of flat cells. And what we would see is the basement membrane and the flat cells on top. Now, if we actually look at it from an angle here, you can see that there's only one cell layer there. And so that would be a simple one cell layer squamous epithelium. And it doesn't matter if the cells are in a nice flat arrangement like that, or if the epithelial tissue comes around making a tube. This would still be simple squamous epithelium, because the way we look at tissues is you have the basement membrane, the bottom basement, the apical area, which is the top area of the cell, and it doesn't matter if it's circle like I actually put it, that will always be the apical. Where the basement membrane is will always be the bottom. Now, if this is simple squamous epithelium, we can make multiple layers of our flat cells, and what we would see is the basement membrane at the bottom and layers of cells, multiple layers. So we would call that stratified squamous epithelium. Again, remember, when you look at tissues, it's a three-dimensional structure, which we tend to do in 2 dimensions. So you can see the top layer like this would have a lot of cells, but when you look at the basement membrane, you only have one. With cuboidal cells, you have the same thing. You have the basement membrane, and the cells will arrange on top of the basement membrane. And so as these are more cube-shaped, these are the simple cuboidal. And if we were to rotate it around, so the basement membrane would be around the tissue on the outside here, you would end up having, again, if this is a lumen, this would be the apical layer where you have the tissue, which would be around this. So if this is the basement membrane, this is a basal layer, and it would go around the entire area. This would be the apical area, and so you'd still have simple cuboidal epithelium. And so if you're looking at it like this, you may actually see a lot of cells in a plane, so you wouldn't necessarily see the simple unless you can see the basement membrane and can see the cells on top of it. Columnar, it ends up looking like a column, and again, it has to be on the basement membrane. It doesn't matter if this goes into a circular form or whatever, as long as you have a basement membrane on the bottom, the apex is on top, so you can see how they're cuboidal. I hope this helps in understanding epithelial tissue, and have a nice day.